In this video, we're going to be talking about the Italian classic film Rocco and His Brothers from 1960, directed by Luchino Visconti. We're Coffee with Aliens at the Movies, where we are a film education and review channel. I'm Robert Bellissimo. I'm an actor and acting teacher.
I'm Steve Chambers. I'm an actor and writer.
And so, why do you think, Steve, that this is considered a classic amongst Italian films?
Oh, man. I think Rocco and His Brothers, sort of like any good epic, it's about a family, a mom and her sons, but bigger than that, it's talking about this family in poverty moving from, I think it's like the South, which was more like farmers and stuff, especially post-war, to Rome, this big metropolis where it's just a different world and this culture shock. And I as a North American Westerner, well, that's West too, as North American, I think it's interesting that to us, perhaps like a culture shock is us going, from like Canada or the US to Italy. But no, idiots, like within Italy, there's a lot of divides. Like picture 1938, America, someone moving from Mississippi to New York City.
Exactly.
What the hell's going on, right? So same thing.
Two worlds.
Two worlds. Sort of like one critic said, it's sort of like an Italian Grapes of Wrath. Yes. Mm-hmm. And it is divided really well into each kind of brother's story. And as the film's called Rocco and His Brothers, there is a focus on Rocco is played by Alain Delon, who it's a star-making performance. I think he had already done Purple Noon, and those two films in the same year really made him as the French, or in this case Italian, but the French James Dean. But I think more interesting than James Dean, to be honest. For a film made 60 years ago, 1960.
Yeah, exactly 60 years ago.
Man, I saw it not too long ago. Again, I've seen it a few times. And there's a scene, I think you know what I'm talking about, where the Simone character kind of gets revenge on Rocco and his girlfriend.
Right.
That's still wildly rough to watch, man.
Oh,
and that kind of stuff would never fly in an American movie. Then, maybe now, I don't know. But anyway, that was a long-winded answer. It's an epic.
That's exactly it. It is this epic story. And when I watched it again last night, and I haven't seen it in it's been at least 5 years that I haven't seen it. But yeah, it is this epic story. And Visconti, as the film begins, it has those neo-realistic elements of people in poverty, living in tight spaces, just trying to get by, trying to get to the next day, just trying to find a place to sleep that night, and then just worrying about where are we going to sleep tomorrow, because for anyone who hasn't seen the film, the father has died, and they move over to, it's actually Milan.
I said wrong. Yeah, Milan, yeah.
So but that's true, and I was thinking that too, and because my family is also Southern Italian, and I know that there is this divide between the North and the South. So if you were a Southerner then moving to the North, they would treat you as a total outsider, and you see that everyone behind their backs are calling them hicks. To me, it's such a classic because it's an unforgettable movie, and I think that's what separates something good to great to classic, in the sense that it's unforgettable, and that yes, it is this operatic, epic story of this family that takes place over a number of years, and you can't help but see the connections with The Godfather and Mean Street, for example, and Coppola and Scorsese both love this movie, and two things stand out to me is just like Michael Corleone, Alain Delon's character, Rocco, no matter what, is trying to keep things together through all the flaws and all the horrible acts that his brother Simone is committing. He, no matter what, is trying to keep it together and justifying his flaws.
That's right.
And that is such a universal, another reason why I think that's a classic, that is such a universal theme that I think so many people can relate to with family. And it's definitely, me being Italian, it's definitely an Italian thing where a lot of the actions of people no matter what they're doing, is always justified to keep the peace, to keep everyone together. And the reason that never works is because you're just making excuses and perpetuating bad behavior. And I've seen it myself in my own extended family, and obviously not at the level of Rocco and His Brothers based on what Simone starts to do. I think that is so universal in the sense that not only Italians do that, but I think many families can do that. And I've seen, of course, non-Italian families do that as well. But and on another note was that Visconti he I think is one of the few neo-realists who moved away from that movement, still having elements of it, and then really experimenting with style and these operatic stories, these long stories. And not only that, this is very melodramatic. This is not like slice of life or a heightened film in the sense that Bicycle Thieves is. This is like, if you look at what happens, it's like almost soap opera like, not in a bad way.
No,
totally.
It's big.
Totally. And the scenes are just, like you said, it is shocking even now, 60 years later, to see spoiler alert, the rape scene, of course, and then the scene where he kills the Nadia at the end. And what one scene that I never forget is when he tells Rocco what he did, and Delon, he's not even crying. It's like, and he jumps on his brother, and it's just like anguish. It's like a kind of pain that you only see when people are told they're gonna die.
And that just right there, I like almost every time we do any talk about anything, and we get to, you inevitably point out, this is true, an actor's reaction to something in a film. And you always pick a good one. And what's really telling is you never pick what most people, I don't know, like some, I don't know, dramatic monologue. You always pick a reaction because, and I agree, because to me, that's the thing, man. It's how someone reacts, not how they present.
I think it's the intensity of what's going on and the situations and the melodramatic moments. And even that scene that I mentioned with Delon finding out that Simone has killed Nadia, whether or not that organically happened, or in terms of Delon jumps on him and he's crying, but yet he's still hugging his brother and stroking his cheek.
Like he's a
Whether
baby.
they block that out or it just happened, who knows, who cares? But it's like such a beautiful moment, yet at the same time so disturbing and gut-wrenching, and it's like two things are happening at once. It's like, on the one hand, he's embracing him and being there for him and comforting him while reacting to what his brother did. And he's the only one who wants to defend his brother no matter what. Whereas the other brother, Ciro, very early on, is like, knows that Simone is turning into a real herd and a criminal. And and you see it. What's really shocking is that early on in the film, they seem, again, he's got this beautiful buildup of, moving from from the south of Italy to Milan. And, first they're looking for work. It's snowing. And it's like, oh, we can go shovel snow and make some money today. And they're celebrating. And again, that's like, oh my God, just celebrating the fact that they're going to be going and shoveling some snow is like,
well, that says everything.
Says everything, about what's happening. And then, little by little, they start to get better. And then Delon's working at that shirt store, and the boxing career is beginning for Simone. The brothers got a job, and you think, okay. And then all of a sudden, it's as soon as Simone steals the shirt that you think, oh.
That's right. I guess you're right. That's the moment, isn't it?
I
think that is where things shift.
I also love is so much is happening. And then, like anything else, even if you're from a small town, you think, I just want to go home. It's that innocence. Like, I want to go home and smell the olive trees, and we were happy there. And and then the other brother says, well, we were starving there. And then it's a great line from Delon, as Rocco says, but we were close.
That's right.
You know, it's like, who cares about
Yeah,
the economic situation? We
that's right.
were close, and
We
now
were
we're
close.
not. And
Yeah,
I'm trying to keep that together. So that's why it's such a
yeah.
classic to me. That
I
that
mean,
is
isn't
so
that
amazing.
even a thing too, right? Like he is the why it's again called Rocco and His Brothers, because he's the one who ends up kind of like taking over for the mom in a way, like keeping it all together. Rocco, like he continues boxing, I think even past where he has no interest in it, and he just happens to be good at it, and but he has to keep doing it because
Yeah,
it brings in money. Um, and I think he does sort
and
of
that's
take on.
exactly like The Godfather.
It's 100%. And
Because
well,
Michael's
one.
good at being a gangster, but he hates it.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And that's very. I find that very interesting in a film.
And I'm not surprised, yeah, because sometimes when you see something, it's like, oh God, 3 hours, this is
Yeah.
gonna be slow. But
Yeah. No, it
to
wasn't.
that point, it actually feels like, to me, 90
No,
minutes or
same.
2 hours,
I agree
because
with you.
so much is going on. It's so intense, and
Yes.
it moves, and not in the sense like plot, 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 but
No.
just in terms of the exploration of the characters
Yes.
is so, again, the melodrama and the heightened
Yes.
situations just suck you in. And when the film is finished, you got to take a few breaths. You know, it's
100%.
just, you know, it
Yeah.
just knocks you on your ass.
And that's a great point you bring up, and I think that's the sign of a really, really, really good director
Totally.
and perhaps writer. In that, although I see if you look at the screenplay credits for Rocco and His Brothers, there's like 5 writers. So wow.
Oh,
But
I didn't
anyway,
even know that.
yeah, what I would say for the director though is what you just said is it really moves. And you also just now said, I don't mean that in terms of plot. And that's interesting what you say, because I think often that is what it's not necessarily what we need, it's what we think we need. We think we need, well, I need a new story element. I need a new
Right.
story element. That yeah, it's a big story, but it isn't like a new element per
Right.
every,
No.
2 pages or 2 minutes of screen time. No, we stick with a point.
Yeah.
But just because you're sticking with one point doesn't mean that it needs to be, feel overdrawn, because it doesn't. It
No, and
doesn't.
it's not incident driven. Like,
No, that's a good point.
when we talk plots,
That's it.
Bill Esper, the great acting teacher,
Yeah.
said something great in his book, was that when he would teach actors for the first year, a lot of the scenes he would give actors were a little easier because they were very plot driven plays,
Yeah.
where the incidents are
Yeah.
what's dictating the story.
That's
But then,
right.
as opposed to something like, as you had mentioned, Streetcar Named Desire, or this film, Rocco and His Brothers, it's not. Yes, there are incidents, but it's more about the behavior is dictating
This is right.
the story.
Very well
It's
said.
what the characters are doing with their
Oh
behavior.
man, that's actually
Not that, oh,
a
I
very
pulled
interesting
a
point.
bank heist and now I'm on the
Yeah,
run.
yeah. No,
And
man, that's it. That's so interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way.
one last point I want to make about Nadia was that she, as Simone puts it, she has these airs she puts on, but then with
Yeah.
Rocco, the airs go away.
That's right.
Which I thought was beautiful in the cafe scene when she sees him coming back from the army.
The army. Yeah. I remember
She's
that
totally
exactly.
real with him. She's
Yeah,
totally genuine.
that's actually that's a great moment. That's a great scene.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's a beautiful scene.
Yeah.
Well, we'll wrap it up there. And I just, as you've said, you can order a DVD off Amazon or eBay or some Korean shops, some bootleg shop somewhere, but it is on the Criterion channel, the new print from 5 years ago.
And it'll look better if you go through them.
Way better. And I just saw it last night. It's only on the Criterion channel until September 30th. So if you want to see it, check it out. They do have a 2-week free trial run if you just want to try it out and perhaps catch this film. But that's it. Thanks so much, Steve. And if you haven't already done so, folks, please hit the subscribe button in the description box below, and we will see you next time.
Bye.